Former RHONG husband Joe Giudice revealed what he's doing in his career and how he stays close to his daughters while living in the Bahamas. Joe Giudice Bahamas life update post-deportation. New details. It's been about 5 years since Joe Giudice was deported from the United States following his release from prison, and he's been settled in Nassau, Bahamas ever since. While Joe hasn't given up his fight to get back to the United States to be reunited with his 4 daughters Gia, Gabriella, Melania, and Adriana Giudice, as well as his ex-wife Teresa Giudice, he's created a life for himself in the Bahamas, which includes an upcoming boxing match. Joe spoke about what his life has been like lately during an appearance on the Real Housewives of New Jersey cast members podcast, Turning the Tables with Teresa Giudice, on January 29. Joe Giudice shares new details on his life in the Bahamas. Joe initially moved to Italy following his deportation, but he decided to move to the Bahamas so he could be just a short flight away from his New Jersey-based family. Though Joe sees his daughters several times a year, he does wish that he could be back in the United States. "Well, you got friends, family, everything," he said about what he misses the most about being home. "You grow up someplace, you get used to everything. That's why I adapted here in the Bahamas, Nassau, because it's kind of like Americanized, and I always see American people here. So I kind of feel like I'm close to home. When I was in Italy, it wasn't really the same. It was nice, but it just felt far. Like here, it's close. It's only 2.5 hours away, and I guess because everybody comes and visits me, I don't feel like I'm too far." In addition to seeing his daughters regularly, Joe said that his friends and family are often stopping by as well. "I'm always doing something," he said about having guests regularly. "It's always rotating, a revolving door." Joe Giudice discusses his deportation case. Though Joe was deported, he's still hopeful that he will get to return to the United States one day. He shared an update on his case on the podcast. "I got a lawyer working on something, but she's been working on it and hasn't done anything yet, so I don't know, we'll see," he explained. I did get in front of the embassy and they denied me, and that was it. I paid a bunch of money for that, so I went, and it took not even 5 minutes and they denied it, so I'm done with this crap. It is what it is." Joe Giudice reveals how he stays close to his 4 daughters. Joe does get the chance to see his daughters throughout the year. Most recently, they visited him right before Christmas, but he's always in touch with them virtually too. "Well, I stay close to them because we talk every day on Snapchat. Adriana, every day I'm with her on Snapchat, like at least 4 times a day. Melania, same thing, and Gabriella," Joe explained on the podcast. "Gia calls me a lot, and they come and visit a lot, so." Does Joe Giudice have a girlfriend? Teresa's ex-husband is in a relationship, she confirmed on the podcast. "Joe is dating his 3rd lawyer now," Teresa said. "He likes lawyers. I think they like me," Joe joked in response. Joe Giudice on his career, cooking videos and workouts. When he's not seeing his family, Joe is busy working in construction, or he's posting cooking videos and training for his boxing match against Ojani Noah on February 8. On the podcast, Joe shared that he's been building big homes in the Bahamas. Instead of building the homes from the ground up, Joe does some of the smaller work, like stuccoing and tiles. As for his boxing match preparation, Joe teased that it's gonna be good. After his workouts are done, Joe enjoys cooking in his Bahamas home. "That's what I enjoy doing," he told Teresa about his hobby, which he used to feature on RHONG. "I'm a chef." Joe later revealed that his favorite thing to make right now is a spaghetti with the real Alfredo sauce. "It comes out amazing," he said. Joe Giudice. A life rebuilt in the Bahamas. It's been 5 years since Joe Giudice, former husband of Real Housewives of New Jersey star Teresa Giudice, was deported from the United States. The journey from his American life to his new existence in the Bahamas has been filled with challenges, but also unexpected opportunities. As he continues to fight for a return to the U.S., he's carved out a life for himself in Nassau, a place where he feels at home and is close enough to his family to maintain strong ties. During a recent appearance on Teresa's podcast, Turning the Tables with Teresa Giudice, Joe opened up about his current life in the Bahamas, how he keeps close to his 4 daughters, his career ventures, and what's next for him. The conversation revealed a Joe who is grounded, despite the many obstacles life has thrown his way. A change of scenery, from Italy to the Bahamas. Joe's life took an unexpected turn in 2019 when he was deported back to Italy after serving a prison sentence for fraud. His departure from the U.S. was a devastating blow for him and his family, particularly his 4 daughters, Gia, Gabriella, Melania, and Adriana, who had to adjust to living without their father in the same country. After a brief period in Italy, Joe made the decision to move to Nassau, the capital of the Bahamas. Why the Bahamas? According to Joe, it was a strategic move that allowed him to be closer to his family in New Jersey. The proximity to the U.S. was one of the major factors, as the Bahamas is only a short 2.5-hour flight away. When I was in Italy, it wasn't really the same, Joe admitted. It was nice, but it just felt far. Here, it's close. And I guess, because everybody comes and visits me, I don't feel like I'm too far. Living in the Bahamas, Joe quickly realized that the island offered a familiar yet different atmosphere. It's kind of like Americanized, he said. I always see American people here, so I kind of feel like I'm close to home. The warmth of the Caribbean, combined with the easy access to his home country, helped Joe adapt to his new life. In contrast to the uncertainty and isolation he felt in Italy, Nassau gave him a sense of belonging. Family first, staying close to his daughters. Despite the distance, Joe remains an active and involved father. He is in constant communication with his daughters, whether through daily Snapchat messages or virtual calls. Adriana, every day I'm with her on Snapchat, like at least 4 times a day. Melania, same thing, Joe shared. Gia calls me a lot, and they come and visit a lot, so. In fact, right before Christmas, Joe's daughters visited him in the Bahamas. These visits are precious moments that allow him to stay connected to his girls, even though they live so far apart. I'm always doing something, Joe said about his guests. It's always rotating, a revolving door. This rotating guest list includes not just his daughters, but also close friends and family who make regular trips to Nassau to spend time with him. The bond between Joe and his girls remains a central focus of his life. He admitted that the hardest part of living abroad is being apart from them. I miss my friends, my family. I mean, everything, he said. But through regular communication and frequent visits, Joe manages to keep that connection alive. Legal battles, hope for a return to the U.S. One of the most significant topics Joe touched on during his podcast appearance was his ongoing battle with deportation. Although he's built a life for himself in the Bahamas, Joe hasn't given up hope that one day he'll return to the United States. His lawyer is still working on a case to challenge the deportation, but progress has been slow. I got a lawyer working on something, but she's been working on it and hasn't done anything yet, Joe explained. I did get in front of the embassy and they denied me, and that was it. The disappointment was clear in Joe's voice as he recalled his experience with the embassy. I paid a bunch of money for that, so I went, and it took not even 5 minutes and they denied it, so I'm done with this crap. It is what it is. Despite the setback, Joe remains determined. He has learned to accept the situation, even as he continues to hope for a change in the future. It's frustrating, but you have to move on, he said. It's not easy, but life is not easy. A new career path, construction, cooking, and boxing. While Joe continues to grapple with his legal struggles, he's found new ways to keep busy and build a future for himself. One of his main activities is working in construction. While he's not building houses from the ground up, Joe has become skilled in the finer details of construction, such as stucco work and tiling. I'm building big homes here in the Bahamas. I do some smaller work, Joe explained. His construction work has become an important part of his daily routine, offering a sense of accomplishment and purpose. In addition to his construction work, Joe has taken up new hobbies that allow him to express himself and stay physically active. He's been posting cooking videos on social media, showcasing his culinary skills. Cooking has always been a passion of Joe's, something he enjoyed doing with his family during his time on The Real Housewives of New Jersey.